And welcome, everyone. Sorry we're a little bit late here. This is the Shitlord Preachers podcast. This is episode 15. I am joined by Brook Potter here in the Trinidad and Tobago, actually, surprisingly. He's actually on this side of the world.
I'm not in... Yeah, I'm on the other side of the pond. I'm back in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, representing Trinidad and Tobago. So a normal time zone for a change, which is very odd.
Only an hour ahead of where I am. But one thing that we're kind of doing here today is actually we have a guest, which we'll get to here in a sec. But yeah, the Shitlord Preachers podcast is basically where Brook and I, we've been friends for a few years. We used to be preachers. And what we do is we've had a lot of these conversations about politics and the like. And what we decided was, hey, let's do a stream. We'll talk about these issues. A lot of the conversations we had were definitely interesting. And instead of keeping those between us, we felt it would be good content. But real quick, we have a guest today, Sarah Jean Gosney. She's the author of the book, All the Cool Girls Are Anarchists, A Girl's Quest to be Radical. Welcome, Sarah. So yeah, I found Sarah. I don't even know how I found Sarah, but I found her on her. I somehow came across on Twitter, and I'll actually kind of show it for you guys if you guys do want to follow her. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. So that is her book, which is on Amazon. You can get for Kindle, right? Kindle and paperback. Is that right, Sarah?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Looks like someone else besides my grandpa reviewed it, so I'm top of the list.
Awesome. And so yeah, here's her Twitter page for those of you who would like to follow her at Sarah Jean Gosney. All one word there, no underscores, no periods. And then you can also check out her website. All of which is we're going to put in. We have in the links below in the description. But real quick, Brook, we have some news we wanted to touch on, right?
I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on. People may have heard of the issue with Lauren Southern and what's her name, Brittany Pettigrew from the UK, which is kind of crazy. We are finally confronting the issues of free speech that we've been talking about for quite some time. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. If anybody's interested in those stories, you just need to search on the web and you'll see a lot of that. Tommy Robinson, of course, is quite a big celebrity out in the UK. He's been following up on this, talking with the MEPs, some of the Lords in the House of Lords and so forth. So I'm glad to see, Amos, something that we've both been passionate about, which is the issues surrounding free speech and individual rights. It's now in the mainstream in the UK. Like, people really have to make a side on this. So I didn't want people to think that we were oblivious to what's going on out there. So
right.
Quick.
Right. Yeah, it's funny how a couple of people who have YouTube channels who have a little bit of activism going on can be banned, whereas what is it, like thousands of actual possible terrorists are sneaking into the UK and no one cares about that?
Yeah. There's an estimated 20,000 active jihadists in the UK, and 400 actual ISIS fighters returned from Syria, and the government thought it was a good idea to give them public housing and assistance, and let them invite their wives over, thinking that the women are gonna keep them calm in the country. But yeah, 22-year-old cute Canadian blondes, they're a threat to society. What can I say?
Exactly. But, and then, of course, Trump, what did he do now? He fired another guy.
I will leave that to you. I don't know much about the whole thing. I know Tillerson was the CEO of Exxon.
He was the Secretary of State, I think it was. Yeah. They fired him, and they're already setting up a replacement. I just think it's funny. Trump is, on one hand, he'll say he likes these people, and then the next moment he fires them. And
that's a conversation for another time.
Right. Oh yeah. So there was another news item we wanted to quickly touch on before we get into
I can't remember what it is. But this is the first time I'm seeing Sarah's book. I'm very interested, Sarah. I mean, just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about who you are, where you come from, and what inspired. I love the title of the book, by the way. What inspired you to write this book?
Yes, so I'm originally from Tennessee, and I mean, I sort of grew up in the suburbs, not a very interesting upbringing, but I went to university and kind of got caught up in my sister's group of friends who were basically like anarcho-communists, and I thought they were super cool. Sort of got pulled into the world of protesting and dumpster diving and riding bikes everywhere, and they were into not bathing in the ocean. I never went quite that far, but yeah, I just thought they were cool, and I wanted to kind of forge my own identity from a better lifestyle. I felt like I signed up it. And so yeah, I guess I've always wanted to write this stuff, but never really thought I had something to write about. My husband found out that medium interesting. I think a lot of people have either met these people or heard about them on film or media, but they are very, very pretty small to come. But yeah, so
Interesting.
Now, just real quick, Sarah, if you want to step, I don't know if you're able to lean a little closer to the computer. I'm still kind of quiet. Your end, and then maybe want to project a little bit.
is this any better?
Yes, that is better.
That's better.
You'll get
Yes.
a nice close up of the bottom half of my face, but you'll be able to hear me, so that's what matters.
Your words are very important to us.
So one of the questions I had what does the title of the book mean? So, because I think one of the things that I asked you when we first spoke was, are you yourself an anarchist? What does it actually mean?
Right. So, like I mentioned, these people consider themselves anarcho-communists, which I know is a little bit different than anarchists, but a lot of them just called it anarchy, even though they were really into Marxism as well. And so, basically, all the Cool Girls Are Anarchists just sort of sums up my worldview at the time, where I thought that in order to be cool, you sort of had to be a political radical, and I thought that was what I wanted to fit in. So it's not really what I think anymore, and I'm not an anarchist at all now. I'm sort of conservative, not too exciting politically. But yeah,
Amos, you're an anarchist, aren't you?
Well, you and I, Brooke, are libertarians, but in a perfect world,
that's what we call it, right? That's what we call it.
We call it libertarians on the surface, but deep down, we would love anarcho capitalism,
Yeah.
or at least a minarchy would be to compromise.
So, I mean, is this ideology, the Marxist ideology, is it prevalent in the terms of the college campuses and the universities? We have a lot of it in the UK as well, but where were you encountering these people, and where was this ideology coming from?
so I met these people. They all, for the most part, were students at this university where I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. My sister met them originally through a group called Food Not Bombs. So if you haven't heard of them, it is a sort of a not-profit. It's not really an official not-profit or non-for-profit group, but they essentially dumpster dive, and then it's like soup kitchen meets dumpster diving. So
Right.
yes, so basically, they won't tell you that the food is dumpster dived. I don't know how to say that,
Wow.
but yeah. So a group of people gets together on Saturdays and prepares basically a free meal that they'll hand out in a public park or something, and it's all from dumpster food. And my sister somehow got involved with these people I think she was in art school, so I'm thinking that was how the connection was made, just a guess. But
Sure.
so I sort of had it coming from my sister and that connection, but also I was taught the principles of stuff in class, so I didn't really.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my classes, I studied French, so a lot of what I learned was classical philosophy and stuff like that, romantic poetry. It wasn't too radical, but you know, when you get into the sociology classes and stuff like that, then you're reading Marxism, you're learning about critical theory, you're meeting some of those people who really do, you know, girls with the bangs up here and the bright dark lips in them. Yeah, it was sort of a 2 month.
Sure. Was there a lot of the the third wave feminism theory and oppression narrative of the SJW sort of thing as well?
Oh yes, yes. So that was one thing. That was one of the most fascinating things about these people is not only were a lot of them really into polyamory, but a lot of them were into gender bending type stuff. So yeah, there was a guy. He was a really masculine guy, a masculine Mexican guy who wore combat boots and a kilt all the time.
Wow.
I know a kilt is like not really a skirt, but he was a Mexican, so it doesn't really count as a kilt at that point. It's just a skirt. I think you have to be Scottish to count as a kilt. So there was that. There were several. I saw. There was this guy I met who definitely had Asperger's and very smart. He was nice, but he was at a certain point transitioning into woman, but it was a combination of Asperger's plus trans that made for a very, very
Wow.
character. And
that's very confusing.
yeah, the thing is, like, the thing about successful trans women is that they are incredibly attuned to the social cues of what femininity is. And so this guy
Right.
knows how to social interacting with other people are masculine social cues, so he could definitely not make that leap to the feminine one. So it was wild. Yeah, a lot of gender bending, polyamory was very common. Never successful, but very common. And yeah,
And I mean, this didn't reflect how you were brought up.
no, my parents are married and are still together.
That's great.
Yeah, they're just male and female, nothing extra in there.
Regular gender pronouns.
Yeah. What did they think of your this education that you were getting?
Well, they didn't love the radical parts of it for sure. My dad basically kept, for the entire time I was in college, he kept sending my sister and I books by Mark Levin, just like by the case.
Right.
Not only for us to read, but for us to distribute among our friends. He would send us, 5 copies of a book. So he was not aggressively trying to, change our minds, because I think he knew that wouldn't work, but he was trying to put some different ideas on the table. The good thing, though, was they weren't paying for the education. It was through scholarship, so I think that probably lightened the blow a little bit.
Now,
an interesting encounter. Yeah, let's go ahead, man.
So your Twitter account, as of now, I think it is, 2,360 followers. When did you start your Twitter?
It was, I don't know for sure, but I really don't think I started the account years ago, but I didn't really start using it until I put the book out, so it would have been the end of January, or maybe middle of January.
Okay. And then it pretty much is, do you remember how many followers you had at that time? Just before you kind of went more active?
I think think a lot of those people have since unfollowed me because they were people that I know in real life and they not want anything to do with me anymore.
Right, right. But in the end, you still have you've grown quite a bit in your account and had quite a following. Um, Now, because I think there's a rise of a lot of Twitter accounts out there, and it's interesting. There's Twitter's responding in a way where if there's a woman who has, whether it's more center or even center right or even center left, pretty much to the right of the radical left that is around today, a lot of those women are getting quite a bit of attention. They're getting a lot of followers very quickly. A lot of people are a lot more discussion in that way.
Yes, and I understand that being a female is very much to my advantage, but my goal, I don't, for one, I'm not a political commentator, I am a cultural commentator, and my goal is to really try to give advice to young women to try to avoid some of the mistakes that I made and to try to make their own relationships better. So I saw kind of a void. I mean, so I read a lot of manosphere material, and that's kind of influenced my thinking, but there's not really a lot of female versions of this stuff, how to find and keep a man that in a way that actually works, not in a way that's produced by cosmic studies. So I saw sort of a void guidance for young women and kind of wanted to deep into that vacuum. So, I mean, I know that some of my following is a fair portion is men, and that a lot of my success helped by the fact that I'm female, but I'm trying to take advantage of what I've got and maybe help actually give some people advice along the way.
Right, right. Now, for viewers, I guess the word manosphere is not really, you don't hear too many people talk about the manosphere.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, Brooke, you kind of know. I mean, my understanding of what the manosphere is, the manosphere is sort of just the male intergender dynamics sphere, like the discussions we have in sort of a community, wouldn't you say, Brooke?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about some of the founders of it, like the three R's: Royce, Rollo, and Roosh. They were kind of the early adopters of this stuff. Sarah, I see you're obviously familiar with these guys. I mean, it's it covers everything from what it means to be a man. So I think there's like a lot of writing on what is masculinity, in terms of strength, accountability, and these other types of things. And it goes full spectrum right across to the pickup artists, the Neil Strauss and David D'Angelo and these guys. I mean, it's really about men dealing with the issues. That there's some of the men's rights activists in there, I guess like countering some of the more radical feminists and stuff like that. I'm surprised to hear, Sarah, that you're actually reading some of this stuff because it's not easy to find. If it's not exactly mainstream or Tomasi book. So where did you kind of get introduced to that?
So I originally think I was introduced to all of this stuff. My boyfriend, we've been together for over 5 years, sort of mentioned the red pill. He wasn't trying to convert me or anything. He mentioned it, and I sort of looked it up and was
Right.
reading the post on Reddit and was like, oh my god, these guys are observing reality. No one's doing that. Because I made fun of my fellow women for things like, oh, he's only creepy if he's not hot, that kind of thing. So I sort of was aware of some of these things. But yeah, so I came across this red pill stuff and was really fascinated by it. And I'm pretty sure I heard of Ruth because of the rapist scandal that he was promoting rape or whatever, that he was just like public enemy number one. So naturally, I had to look him up, and then I really liked what I read. Naturally, the pickup artist stuff isn't really for me. It's kind of information to know, especially to warn young women to avoid men who are doing those things. But there's a lot of really valuable writing for men and women and on masculinity and femininity. I feel like I've really improved myself based on some of the writings that Return of Kings have put out there. Like, I started playing an instrument and I grew my hair out. stuff like that. So that's something for everyone.
Quite right. Quite right. I've been involved in the PUA community very early on. So I was there I met David D'Angelo many years ago in California and stuff like that. Yeah, Rollo's stuff is really making an impact. So, and Return of the Kings is just brilliant. I mean, he doesn't give a rat's. He's just telling it like it is.
Right.
So I know he's got a very large hating community. I mean, not everybody's going to agree. I don't agree with everything that he's done. But how would you say that's from where you were, I guess, in the university and hearing, the polyamory and these other things to where you are now? What was there an aha moment? Was there something that absolutely stood out and you realize I've got to change the way I think?
So there were kind of few aha moments, and it was basically at the end of my university education when I was going into the workforce. The aha of Marxism kind of stupid sort of happened to actually
Right.
full time. And then also towards the end of school, I saw really the misandry of the feminists ramp up, and they were all of a sudden men didn't have opinions about women's fashion because it was sexy, crazy stuff like that, and drinking male tutors. And I mean, I have a good relationship with my dad and my grandpa and uncle and stuff, so I wasn't into that, and I like men. So that was the first kind of aha moment, realizing that we're going to get crazier. And the next sort of aha moment was when my boyfriend got really sick, and I ended up having to take care of him for about a year. And I moved in with his parents.
I see.
I basically was in like a very stereotypical female position of economic dependence and, you know, sort of serving other people when I was cooking and cleaning somewhat and just kind of being a caretaker. And I found that I was no way resistant to that, actually. I mean, it was not a fun situation. Like, it was really stressful and sad. A lot better, by the way, but it was,
Glad to hear it.
yeah, it was stressful, but at the same time, I felt like I was fitting in and kind of like I was fulfilled in a way that working as a secretary didn't really do for me somehow. So that was sort of that was when I really decided I wanted to start promoting traditional gender roles and traditional values, because I think so many women are lied to and told that a career is what's going to fulfill them, and not only do so many people not have careers, they just have jobs. So that's not a great goal anyway, but it's really, I mean, even this is something Bruce talks about. He's very successful in his own little corner of the world, but he isn't married and doesn't have children. And he's not like, yeah, I mean, I have 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I don't have any children, so who cares? It's at the end of the day, it's
right.
only that really matters. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rush is in Poland right now, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, obviously, you've heard the terms like hypergamy and the solipsism and some of these other things pertaining to women and stuff like that. You're really, as you said, you went through a transformation with your boyfriend. Glad to hear he's in better health. So I mean, from how it to like all of the red pilling stuff that you experience, obviously, and having to care for him and stuff like that. What would you say have your values of what's in a relationship changed from the beginning to now?
Well, I think in the beginning I was very commitment phobic, for starters, and
Right.
that was something I touch on in my book. That's not how I started out. When I was fresh, young, I was very much marriage minded and a monogamy and stuff like that. But I had my heart broken a couple of times for guys
Sure.
who wanted to basically experience hookup culture. And I got kind of jaded after that and tried to keep my distance emotionally. And I was very stoic and kind of masculine in my approach to everything. And now,
Did you have the blue hair?
I did, actually, yes.
She did, actually. I can actually pull this up here on her Twitter. She has a picture of this.
Collage that I actually I sent to Roosh because I was listening to one of his videos about send me a picture of your improvements after you hear this video, and I thought he would be interested to see that kind of like timeline. And then I realized it was kind of a market.
Oh wow!
Yeah, for my like just a little a capsule of everything that I have.
Using blue hair, purple hair, short hair.
The undercut.
Yeah. And this was 2017 over here in the bottom left there.
Yeah, okay, so I guess maybe I hopped on Twitter in December, beginning of January. I'm not sure. I didn't really start committing to it, I think, till January, but somewhere around there. But
That's
yeah,
amazing. You didn't do the piercings though. You didn't do like tattoos and piercings.
I do have one tattoo, but it is in the region that is covered by
Sure.
clothing. It's on my rib cage, so
Right.
I can cover that whenever. And I guess I never had any facial piercings or anything. I did have some like upper earlobe piercings and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, Amos and me joke about the pincushion women, you know, where they're just like all pierced up, and it's a rejection of femininity, which of course is somewhat unnatural. Some people like it. But it's good. I like the blue hair. It was how long ago was that? The blue hair?
So I think that was probably about 5 years ago. I think for a solid 2 or 3 years I had different colors of hair, so it started after one of the first breakup, I think, is when I was like, oh, maybe time to dye my hair red, and then it was kind of like a gateway drug. I just had, the underneath
Gateway drug.
it escalated all the way to blue, and then it was like blue and turquoise and, purple, and yeah, I was basically doing the heroin of hair dye at that
I wonder if the hair color thing is kind of like anime with like the crazy characters and the crazy hair colors.
point. Got some attention from guys who were really into anime, I will say that.
Now, with all the guys that I guess you dated but also like interacted with, especially during your transition, did you see like what characteristics distinguish between sort of the men that were more in this anarchist, communist, more the male? I mean, I'm guessing you've dealt with male feminists and such. Like, what was the major characteristics that distinguish them versus someone like your boyfriend that you're with now, and also maybe other men you've interacted with that are more, I guess, masculine, traditional masculine, yeah, or even just like general masculine characteristics. Maybe a man is not traditional masculine, but just more, even like kind of, because one of the things with like Rollo Tomasi talks about like the alpha male, even those characteristics. How would you like distinguish between them, like for just maybe like a handful of characteristics?
Yeah, so within the anarcho-communist community, I mean, you have like the alphas of the anarcho-communist community who are more masculine, and then you have the typical male feminists who are very much kind of like, oh, whatever you think, and I don't want to encroach on female spaces and that kind of thing. So it kind of runs the gamut. The main difference is competence. Quite honestly, like conservative men are competent at whatever it may be. Usually they have some kind of skill, like some kind of employability. They know how to fix cars. They can hunt. They can fix things around the house. They know how to engage in politics in a way that's actually effective. Whereas these anarcho-communists, it's like they're trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, they cannot organize politically to save their lives. I mean, some of them are really good at working on bikes, I will say that. But like, handy around the house, they just know how to do that. They wouldn't know how to do conjuring thing. And oh my god, my sister told me the other day that she ran into some of these guys too, from that time period in May smelled like the animals because they had skinned some possums that they had found this roadkill, and I don't know if they were trying to use the fur or something. God knows what they were doing with it. I know some people eat possums, but not the roadkill type. So yeah, just doing
That's crazy.
stuff. And I think compliments is really the biggest thing that stands out.
Let's see what else here.
That's awesome. I mean, your boyfriend now, he's supporting you in your new transformation and your endeavor to help young women now, you know, find fulfillment in somewhat more traditional roles.
Yeah, I mean, he jokes that when he found me, I was a hot mess, and that he trained me. Now I'm much higher quality.
He trained you. How
I like this
sexist
guy.
is
He
that?
sounds awesome.
I owe a lot of my transformation to him, and of course that makes a lot of feminists squeal and say that I'm an abused, battered woman. But in my opinion, it's just, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone, you change each other, and I think it was for the better. But yeah, I mean, when he met me, I definitely had the blue hair, and I played roller derby, which was fun, but it was really damaging to my physical being, and I was around a lot of women who were terrible influences. Um, and yeah, so he definitely he trained me up a little bit, I guess, and yeah, so
That's awesome.
you know, he's a little bit concerned that I'm going to become kind of big and that I'll get doxxed and he'll, you know, caught up in that, but talked to Roosh a little bit about that, and he said if someone does dox you, they'll forget about it in 2 days. So hopefully that's true.
Yeah. And you now you said that you're not that you have to explain too much, but I know you and even like Brooke, if you guys ever do get doxxed, it's not the end of the world being in the position you're in.
Right? Yeah, I work with my dad. I'm basically self-employed, and my goal is to ultimately support myself writing. But right now, that's you know, I've sold a handful of books, and I'm just laying the groundwork. I think I have one patron on Patreon giving me $1, which thank you very much. I appreciate that, but
Fantastic.
I'm very much just laying the groundwork of supporting myself writing. So yeah, I don't have an employer that I can be doxed to. It's the real estate group that I am a part of. At this wind of my activities, they will basically shrug and not care. So
Now, for the book, I know we talked. You said there are a few, I guess, names that have your book that have a copy of it.
yes.
Who are they again?
So Jack Kosovic has it. Sargon of Akkad, Ashley Ray Goldenberg / Communism Kills, and Ian Miles Chong. They all have it.
Okay. How long have they had the book?
So Jack Kosovic has had it since it came out the end of January, and everyone else has had it for a little under a month. And I'm trying to not pester them too much, but also check
Right.
and see if they've read it. But I'm trying to give them their space.
Because even if one of them kind of gets it out there, I have a feeling it could very definitely get quite a bit of attention.
I think it could, and so I'm trying to just be patient and wait. Because I've been working on the book. It took me about 3 years with everything that was going on, 3 years to write it and get it all finished and edited. So I'm, you know, ready, gung ho to have it selling off the shelves. But at the same time, I didn't start marketing it at all until a month and a half ago. So
Right. Now, I guess how do you see the sort of the climate today for mainly from I guess for men, like because I know you're sharing from your perspective, the woman's perspective. How do you think it's from your I guess snapshot of how you see how women interact with men? What are some things that you see that are definitely, I guess, I'll use a word here, problematic.
I think it's just hard out there for a pimp right now. It's really
Damn right.
I just feel so bad for young men because what I've noticed is it's like, okay, yes, the men are mostly terrible, the women are mostly terrible, but the thing is, the men know that they suck. Like, I'm talking about the guys who are the typical neckbeards, live in the basement, don't have a job, eat chicken nuggets, 300 pounds. Like, they know something's wrong. Women, they're like these careerist feminists who, they curse, they're just really aggressive. They don't know that anything is wrong. So society is telling them, go girl, you're great, you're empowered. So they basically have to hit the wall before they realize something's wrong. So basically, you have all of these men who are seeking self-improvement through the manosphere, through people like Ruthie, who are really improving themselves, but I don't see as much of a parallel movement among women, which I'm hoping I'm going to find those women, and I have been talking to some on Twitter and giving them advice, so there's some out there, but so many women just don't realize there's a problem yet, and they probably won't until it's too late.
Now, what for the viewers, I guess, what is the wall?
Wall. So basically, the wall is a catchy term for the sharp decline in women's fertility that happens around 35. So some people in the manosphere say that women hit the wall at 24, but I think doctors would say that it's probably about 35. That's when you're considered, after 35 is when you're considered to have a high-risk pregnancy. So pretty much that's what I consider to be the wall, but some would consider it a lot earlier.
Right, the manosphere, I guess, would consider 24 being the wall more so for sort of the physical attributes, not so much the fertility side. I think that's why there's a difference in that. Not that there's definitely women that can remain youthful, beautiful into their 30s, but I think for the majority of it, you definitely see there is a shift, definitely.
Well, especially when you're talking about the party sluts. Like, if you are talking about a woman who's drinking and sleeping around and smoking cigarettes and staying up late for, 5 years, or since she was 16 or 18, yeah, she's going to hit the wall at 24 because she has been abusing her body. And that's not very forgiving. But yeah, I definitely know what they mean. There are some chicks who hit the wall pretty early, but, if you try to avoid the partying lifestyle and actually get sleep and don't drink yourself, kind of extend that grace period a little bit more.
Now, speaking of sluts, Amber Rose.
Interesting segue there, bro.
Amber Rose. Do you guys know about Amber Rose, the celebrity with the sort of the slut walk thing?
No clue who that is.
She's the one who tries to pretend like she's black.
I think so. Yeah, she's. I think she's kind of like mixed, but she's basically some sort of celebrity. Anyway, she really had the whole the slut walk thing was really big. So like if you saw a lot of early like Lauren Southern and Miley Yiannopoulos videos, you see them go to these slut walks. Oh yeah, she's a musician. That's right. So she's doing these shows where she sort of like pushes, like really is projecting a lot of this sort of like, be proud to be a slut, like don't slut shame people. So she was kind of the slut pride side of feminism. And now with the hashtag Me Too movement really like coming full force, now she just recently made a comment about how now she's frustrated with feminism because it's too mainstream now.
Oh, it's not edgy enough for her.
Exactly. So, and then the picture that they took of her was like her looking a lot more presentable because she was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. She was posting like half naked pictures on Instagram, basically pushing the boundaries of what is accepted on their platform as like borderline nudity and all this to kind of show like I'm proud to be a woman. I think she even was really pushing a lot of that the narrative that regret constitutes rape,
Oh, that's good. Great.
stuff like that. So she's really. It's funny when they kind of go full force into it, and now they kind of retract and go, "Oh crap! Now it's not edgy enough," and it kind of shows. It's not so much. Some of these narratives are more so for the part of the overall like oppression sort of victim narrative. You want to be oppressed. You want to be, special essentially. Feel significant in your oppression to have some sort of a status through victimhood.
Well, maybe she'll pull a Lindsay Lohan and go from party slut to Muslim. That would be interesting.
Oh my gosh.
That would be epic.
That's the full transformation right there.
I mean, it's like if like Paris Hilton just ended up in an Amish community one day or something.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say, I guess, for women, if you had to summarize in like just a couple sentences, what would you give them for advice with everything we've kind of talked about?
First of all, don't sleep around, number one. And definitely try to look and act like a woman. Don't cut your hair off, dress like a girl. Try as hard as you can to be a more polar feminine. Have those polarized tendencies versus androgynous. Do not try to be one of the guys. That's the one that a lot of young women fall into. They friend zone themselves the same way guys try to they friend zone themselves by trying to be friends with a girl to get a chance, basically. Women do this too. So don't try to be one of the guys. Don't sleep around. Look feminine. Try to ignore your kind of vulnerable, soft, feminine side. And it sounds super cheesy, but so many women these days are really have this hardened edge and they're just so aggressive, and that's not appealing to me. They want something that contrasts to them. They want someone sweet and pleasant and someone that they can believe. So yeah, try to get into that a little bit instead of
Unleash the TradCon.
yes, exactly.
Now, what kind of advice then would you give to men as a woman?
Well, everyone says if nothing else, lift. But
that is very true.
that seems like decent advice. So yeah, definitely take care of your physical appearance is something that both men and women should do. But for men, I think it's also sort of like a character building, endurance, perseverance type thing, and as well as your physical appearance and strength. So I guess lift. And talk to women, like the whole pickup artist approach of get rejected, a bunch of times. It really works. It works in any aspect of your life, not just, trying to pick up women or try to get guys. The more that you get used to rejection, the less scary it will be. So just get used to talking to women, and really sort of develop yourself and try to find a mission. Find what you're really interested in and passionate about. And if you're physically strong and you are focused in what you want from life and you're able to calmly interact with women in a leading type way, then they'll be attracted to you. You do have to have some stuff going for you, but you don't necessarily have to learn how to hypnotize your way into get a woman into bed. You sort of focus, I think, both for men and women, you focus more on developing yourself, and that's what will attract people.
Right. Wow, I'm actually surprised we got through quite a few of the topics. Brooke and I kind of laid out a few topics specifically we want to get into. I guess, Brooke, do you want to get into those 3 extra topics then? Or do you have any other questions you want to ask her?
Well, before I do that, Oh, I got a ton of questions. um,
Go for it.
no, I really appreciate the advice that she's giving, especially for men and stuff like that. I think there's as you know, because of the feminist imperative and stuff like that, men are kind of lost in a lot of ways in terms of who they are, what it means to be a man. So yeah, to hear her talk about lifting stuff is really good. Have you heard about this girl? We have a very pro anti-feminist girl out here, a very traditionalist. Her name is Nati Khalifa. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I don't think I have.
No? Yeah, she and Roosh have gotten into it a couple times. Um, but I might try to like maybe link you girls up because she does have a very big Facebook group, Women Against Feminism UK, and stuff like that. And it's a lot about what you're talking about, like the traditional conservative roles of women and stuff like that. So I just wanted to get your views on like what does that mean to be a traditional conservative woman? Does it mean you don't think women should vote? Do you think women stay in the kitchen? Like there must be a lot of misconceptions. So maybe you could
Make
address
sandwiches all day.
Sure. So I'm just going to preface this and say I don't try to call myself trad because I think that it's dishonest. And my measure of success is if I can build my following without having Ruth call me a trad thought, then I have succeeded. So to me, I mean, being
Brilliant.
traditional, not having sex before marriage is a big one. But yeah, just in term getting married and settling down and having kids, that's a big thing. Traditional gender roles where yes, I think women are better suited in the kitchen raising children, which you're not allowed to say anymore. But I think the majority of women really are more fulfilled that way. Men, being providers, men being the leaders of the family, and women being, the first mate of the ship, and the man is the captain. That kind of metaphor. Um, but yeah, I guess in terms of what I have tried to do to make myself more trad, even though I don't claim to be traditional, is, I don't drink or party. I don't hang out with guys alone. I don't have male friends. I make couple friends. Um, I have started learning an instrument. I've cooked for years. I've been cooking for a really long time, but I focus on that as well. I've been trying to get more organized. Pulling the Jordan Peterson cleaning your room type thing.
Jordan Peterson would be proud.
Yes, so proud. So yeah, I mean, to me, a traditional family is um sort of the
I mean,
stereotype.
obviously you want that. You want he's your boyfriend now. You aren't married yet. Obviously, you want kids and stuff like that,
Right.
and you're excited for that. So, what happens if you and your boyfriend have a disagreement? How is that resolved in this framework?
That's hard because we don't really have that many disagreements. um,
Oh, brilliant!
yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
mean,
has that changed? Did you start off having disagreements and now you've kind of grown together? So maybe how it was to how it is now.
I definitely was more antagonistic in the past. But I mean, it depends on what the disagreement is on. If it's something like, "What do you want for dinner?" I'm asking him, and he says, "Well, I think you should make this," and I say, "Oh, that's weird. I don't want to make that." Then just says, "Okay, what do
Right,
you want to do?" For small stuff like that, I mean, he really doesn't make every decision for me. I'm a pretty
right.
independent person, but for big stuff, I mean, like in terms of what I need to do to make big life choices, the decisions I have to make. I get advice from him, and generally, I'll end up making up my own mind, but I'll take his point into consideration for sure. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a specific conflict we've had.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. Just quick, are y'all living together, or if you don't mind me asking?
No, not currently. Right now, we're actually long distance. I had to move back in with my
Okay.
parents. for some health reasons. And yeah, I guess really most of our conflicts arise from the distance, and we mostly just
Right.
talk them out. Usually what it looks like is I'm freaking out or being emotional, and he's just calm and is kind of lets me work it out, like throw the tantrum or whatever, and then he'll
Yes.
say, "Okay, you have that out of your system. Let's talk about what's really going on," that kind of thing. So it's not
Sounds
like,
brilliant. Sounds brilliant.
yeah. I mean, it works. I mean, I think that's a good strategy, and I think it's sort of something that men talk about in the manosphere a little bit, just sort of letting the woman work out the issues and you just kind of stay stoic until things have calmed down, and then you can maybe approach things. It works. It works for us. Not that issues crop up too much, but they do sometimes.
Sure, sure. Have you developed like an online community or something like that with other women, and maybe shared some of those experiences?
A few. So I'm really developing that more now that I've been more active on Twitter, and I found several women. Some of the people I really like following are, in fact, wives and mothers, and I like hearing about their kids and what they're doing, and seeing what they're cooking for dinner, and yeah, we sort of talk about ways of how to show respect to your husband, or how to be a better wife or girlfriend, and like I've given some of them, like if people want some advice, I was giving one advice the other day on how to approach a friendship with a man that she has, that where I think they dated in the past, they're friends, but she still likes him. I was kind of advising her on that. So yeah, slowly I am building an online community of like-minded women, and it's cool because I don't have a lot of those people in my real life who are kind of on the same page.
Sure, sure. So how does a like a half Asian guy that we might both know, how does that guy find a nice traditional woman in his life? Is there like a online dating site or something?
What you have to
Brides by mail?
you have to approach it like Pokemon. You have to train us. I did not pop out traditional. I definitely made some idiotic mistakes and was ridiculous and a feminist, but you just have to find a woman who is agreeable and reliable, which is a lot of women. Just, someone who has that seed of potential, and then like coax them slowly to the dark side. And there are some articles. There are articles on Return of Kings about this. How to turn your feminist wife or girlfriend into a trad wife. And I really think that's how you're gonna have to do it, because there are so few women out there who are embracing these traditional values, and they're either taken or they're not where you are. So I really think you're just gonna have to find someone with potential and raise her up real good.
So find a malleable woman and train her up to be my wife.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
That sounds like how you, because as you say, as a traditionalist. Well, not wanting to use the term. How is a guy going to find, a lady like you who's not in the clubs, is not probably out at too many social functions? I mean, do you yourself, do you have hobbies and social things that you go to? Are you involved in the church, for instance?
No, I'm not currently religiously active. I am Jewish, and my synagogue is very, very liberal nowadays, so I've sort of stopped going because I didn't
Excellent.
want to hear about, bringing in a million migrants from the southern border and from the Middle East, because we were once
Right.
land of Egypt. So, but no, I actually posted a thread on this a few weeks ago. Places to find a good woman and places to find a good man. Church, of course, is a place for that. But so if you're a guy looking for women, just think of where a woman would go and what she would do. So like yoga classes, cooking classes, that church. Um, Or else, I mean, I've heard a lot of guys meeting girls at the grocery store, like Whole Foods or something like that. The dog park, you know,
Libraries or something. Yeah.
libraries and bookstores. You know, no joke. You can meet people anywhere, but I would definitely not recommend going to a club to meet someone that's setting yourself up for disaster. And like for women, I was saying, okay, go to a rock climbing wall or a sports goods store or a computer programming class or the shooting range. You know, just like imagine a person that you would want to be with and think of their hobbies and then go there. And yeah, you know, you might be the only guy in a yoga class or whatever, but who cares if you find a wife or girlfriend that way?
That's right. I mean, you mentioned the shooting range. Are you, and you did mention hunting. Is that something that you're into? Are you like a big Second Amendment person?
Yeah, yes, I am. I haven't done a ton of hunting. I I've gone squirrel hunting a few times, but it's really hard. Squirrels are very small
Sure.
targets, and I went deer hunting one time with a crossbow. Um,
Wow. Come on.
Crossbows are so easy to use. It's like cheating. It's not even fair.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, because as long as you're within, I know you probably use meters, not yards, but they're about the same. But as long as you're within like 50 yards of the animal, they can kill just as well, and there is no recoil whatsoever, and you aim it just like a rifle, so it's great. Um, but yeah, and I've got a handgun, and I just the other weekend I went to the shooting range with my parents and um shot up some targets, and yeah, I don't know. I just think shooting is fun, and I think that it's an important right that we need to keep to avoid being in a situation like the UK where, or Sweden, or any of those other European countries where they can't defend themselves against the roving rape gangs and stuff like that, and then they're being jailed for free or for 6 weeks. So I think keeping the Second
Correct.
alive and well is an important part of that.
Now, are you a member of the NRA, Sarah?
I am as of like a month ago.
Oh my gosh, you're a
Good.
terrorist.
Come on.
I am. I finally joined after the Parkland shooting, I guess. I finally joined, although I am still waiting for my complimentary NRA handbag. Or not handbag, duffel bag. Come on, guys.
I think I saw you on the thread. Was it the NRA Sweethearts? Did you put that up?
Yeah, so one of the ladies I follow on Twitter, I think she goes by Leah or Leia the Boss, and she's a very big, like, Second Amendment, pro-gun activist type person. And so she posted this, like, glamour shot of her with, I don't know what kind of gun it was. It was some kind of semi-automatic rifle. Um, and she said, "I'm an NRA sweetheart," you know, and she tagged Stephen Kane to, I
Stephen
guess,
King. That's right.
trigger him or whatever. And she said, "Post pictures of you with your firearm." And so I posted a picture of me with my Glock and posted that. So that's my.
I have to admit, one of my favorite YouTube channels, and I thank Amos for this. Thank you, Amos. Is a YouTube channel called Girls with Guns.
And those chicks with guns.
It was Chicks with Guns. Yeah, thank you. And I mean, it's totally misogynist, scantily clad, shooting these massive rounds of ammunition and just watching the recoil, recoil. But I remember that thread. I think I posted me with an AR-15 from Kansas and stuff like that. But I was like, wait a minute, I recognize this because Amos through some app that I think, was it you were grandma and I was grandpa and Amos was the offspring?
Yes.
Oh, some stupid Twitter thing, right? Yep.
That's what I recognized you. Yeah.
That's me. Yeah, my boyfriend gave me that. It was his Glock, and he gave it to me for self protection, whatnot. And it's awesome. It's a great gun. I highly recommend it.
No,
So yeah, go ahead, Amos.
no. Since it's funny, you segued perfectly into our topics there, Brooke, about guns. We had some backup topics to kind of tie up and talk about the end here. So heavy, like, I guess, what was, did you have like a sort of a red pilling, I guess, in terms of your views on things like abortion?
Yeah, I did. So I definitely, so not the first time, but the second time I met my boyfriend. We met on campus, and the second time he met me, I was definitely at a pro-choice protest. So at UT, where I went to school, every year they have this big anti-abortion protest where they have like pictures of aborted fetuses and pictures of like Holocaust survivors, and they're saying like it's a genocide and all this stuff. And there was like a little thing counter protest of like it's your body, your choice, and I was part of that because awesome.
Come on.
But yeah, I think it was just through conversations with him about the fact that it's not, okay, even if it's not viable outside of the womb, it's going to become a child. It is on its way, and you need to take that life. It's not like it went from not living to living in that months or whatever. Talking about infanticide and other cultures in the past, like Roman infanticide and stuff like that, how it was common for people to be very clear about the fact that it was infanticide, whereas now it's weird rationalization about, okay, well, it's not really a baby, it's not a human, it's not living. And it's really just a way for women someday to rationalize murdering a child.
Real quick, Sarah, if you could lean back in a bit because you're starting to get quiet again. A couple people were in the live stream chat were kind of mentioning they're trying to get you to turn up the volume, but I was like, well, we can't turn it up any further. It's just more so the where the microphone is. So
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm on a very ancient computer right now, and I cannot adjust anything any further, but I will project.
Yeah, it's interesting how feminists stand up for the so much oppression, and yet kind of overlook certain oppressed, I guess, a group that can't really speak for itself. It's what I guess what were the big things that kind of was it like more of a moral argument, a logical argument? Was there some sort of religious part? Because I know different people have different sort of convictions when they talk about this, and it gets again it kind of gets all thrown together, and a lot of feminists think, well, anyone who's pro-life, anti-abortion, uh, it's purely religious.
Right. For me, it was more of a logical thing, actually, in that I was totally buying into that rationalization that, it's just a bundle of cells. And then once it sort of clicked in my brain that that bundle of cells was well on its way to becoming a child, and it really registered that people are arresting a life, that I realized I'm really not okay with that at all. So it wasn't really religious. It was just kind of understanding that I was a little bit delusional in my viewpoint up until that point.
Right, right. Now, like, because you said you went to a lot of you were with these like sort of pro-choice sort of protests or kind of rallies and stuff. What kind of, oh yes, what kind of things were they really like pushing for? Now, wait, you were because you said there was the pro-life one where they were showing like aborted fetuses, but you were with the other side or something, or
Yeah, I was
The counter protests.
the counter-protest kind of thing.
counter protest. It was really small, maybe 10 people, whereas the pro life display was very large. It took up basically the whole quad, I guess you could say, of our university. Big displays, maybe not a ton of people, but a very big display. Yeah, I mean, basically, the counter protest was about, bodily autonomy, choice over your own body, that kind of thing. And just saying you shouldn't be ashamed if you've had an abortion. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's fine. It's just a normal thing for someone to do. It's no big deal, that kind of thing. So that was a big motif, was, you know, look away from the bad pro-lifers. You're not a bad person. It's just a choice you made with your body, you know, that kind of thing.
Did you ever get involved with any of those counter protests beyond just that one against the pro-life group? Did you ever go? Well, did you ever go to? I don't know.
The women's march.
Women's. Well, I guess they didn't have that quite that long ago, but
no, I did go to one. So I did not participate in, but I witnessed a slut walk back before it was cool. Which it's not still, but so I witnessed a slut walk, and I went to a protest in DC with some friends when I was probably 19 or 20, but I still don't know what it was about. It was like, you know, Occupy Wall Street / anti-Iraq war, which is like not even relevant, like anti-Guantanamo Bay. It's just like all over the place, which is what, when I talked earlier about these anarcho-communists being totally unable to organize politically, that's what I'm talking about. They can't even have a unified message in a protest. So no one even knows what they're talking about. Oh, but my boyfriend and I, we actually went to the protest in Ferguson, Missouri when the whole Mike Brown shooting happened there a few years ago. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was
yep.
the inception of
Sure.
Black Lives Matter. We sort of saw that happening in real time because we, at the time, were looking at all the stuff happening and we're thinking, holy crap, this is about to be the second civil rights movement. I sort of want to see what's going on. And so we drove up to Ferguson and participated. And I mean, they did a review of that Department of Justice, or the DOJ did a review of that police department, and they were, you know, sort of abusing the rules and stuff, and that was rectified. So it wasn't whether, you know, what actually happened with Mike Brown aside, it did, you know, improve things, but we were there and, you know, we were supporting the people who were participating in this protest, but then we kept seeing, you know, people doing Black Power symbols and stuff like that, and we were like, we're not going to participate in that part. It's a little bit weird, but okay. And so yeah, we basically saw Black Lives Matter again.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, I have participated in a few protests in my day.
Now it's interesting how. Now, did you guys ever address the? Did you ever come across the hate speech thing?
Yeah, so basically my boyfriend's entire graduate study, so he got a master's degree in sociology, thinking that he was going to like cop shop type, you know, I'm going to prepare you to be a detective or work in the Justice Department program. Because it was criminal justice that he was, or criminology that he was studying. So he thought it was going to be criminal justice, that kind of thing, and ended up doing this critical theory sociology program, where basically he was kicked out. They barely let him leave with his degree because he was overstepping his bounds and not respecting the women and was asking the wrong questions and stuff like that. So he basically was hate speeched out of his program.
Wow.
And yeah, which I mean was ultimately for the better because he had no future in that program and he did get his degree, but it was pretty rough at the time.
Yeah, it sounds very trying.
Yeah, he's been banned from Twitter about 85 times as well, so.
Really?
Maybe not 85,
That's
but
crazy.
he's permanently locked out right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard.
I mean, you did talk about you weren't particularly politically active, but I mean, do you see any causes or stuff like that you might consider becoming more active and maybe going back and protesting for something?
Well, my boyfriend and I were talking about this yesterday, actually, in that we don't think that protesting is the right approach for the right wing. Like, all it does is gives the right wing bad PR and gives the media cause to call us Nazis. Which
Right.
I'm Jewish, definitely not a Nazi, but like it just looks bad, and that's not really how right wingers get stuff done. You know, we tend to actually organize politically, try to be elected. You know, go through the process versus just protesting in the streets. So it's not that I wouldn't be interested in a political cause, and I do follow politics. I just don't comment on them.
Sure.
But I don't think I would consider protesting.
Right. So are you saying you're going to run for president? Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying, yes. No,
Fantastic.
could not pay me to take that job.
This has been fun, man. I like this. Sarah, you're definitely, well, for our first guest that we both managed to share, and you've been most gracious, and I absolutely love the energy and the spirit of what you're doing, and you definitely have our encouragement on this.
Well, I appreciate it. It's awesome that you guys kind of took a leap of faith and brought me on here.
Well, it seems that actually from what I was talking to people, just by the title of the show, some people feel it's a real leap of faith to even come on here. I mean, we're not even having that many people watching yet. People are assuming that, you know, by the title of the show itself, they kind of think, okay, well, you know, I think someone already thought we could maybe. I mean, someone who perfectly understands and appreciates what we do definitely said, well, you know, they have a large following, and said, well, I could be seen as alt-right. And so we're.
I think it's better to just embrace it and say you don't care, because they're going to call everyone alt-right. They're going to call everyone a Nazi. So you just have to say, yes, I am a Nazi. Let's get on with it. Moving on. Next subject.
Exactly. That's the right attitude. That's exactly what you got to do.
So we're Nazis now, Brooke.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but how is that different from any other day? It's like, come on.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. it's like... Oh, go ahead, bro.
Amos, you're like, you're involved with we had the Hapa supremacist on. I don't know, Sarah, if you know what the Hapa supremacists are.
I watched the video.
And I think they're organizing an ethno state, right? I think that's
exactly.
In the plans. Like
we are.
In the bag.
Yeah. So it's been mentioned, but basically some of them, some people who we're sort of forming a Hapa, I guess, a connection. Like some of us that are, I'm seeing there's all these different people that are half Asian, half white, usually, and I guess some of them saw Andy Worski podcast, and he's. I guess they talk a lot about the ethno state. I don't watch it, but and someone said, with all this talk of the ethno state, we need to do a Hapa ethno state live stream. So we're in a sort of a Twitter messaging group, and we're trying to figure this out. Like, we kind of reached out to see if we could get Ian Mouse Chung to show up on the stream. We even threw out to someone who is actually straight up called alt-right, James Alsop. We even tried throwing, I don't know, people were like trying to like just pick apart, like somehow like Tim Pool came into a conversation we were having. Just a lot of different big YouTubers, some of these social political commentators that are half Chinese, half Asian of any sort, trying to get them to just more. I think it's where we are probably going to talk about something, and I don't know how long the stream will be. It's supposed to be sometime maybe next month. I'm not sure. We're still setting a date, but yeah, half Asian, half white ethno state, because we're this. There's a whole Reddit community if you look on there, Sarah. Look up Reddit. It's just slash Hapas, Hapas. Is the most depressing stuff you're gonna read. If you're half Chinese, so for all these Hapa people, Hapa kids that are born, if your father was the white one, it's a racist arrangement because the white man is having an Asian fetish. That's why you were born. So you're born out of a fetish. That's racist. But if it's an Asian man, it's okay.
Okay.
They actually have this whole article writing out how, basically through lack of identity because you're from two very different cultures, and then being an American, basically feeding in and believing in a lot of the victim narrative, this SJW mindset. It's become this twisted, depressing sort of like my existence is oppression and privilege somehow mixed together. I tell people I'm half Chinese and I'm half white, so one part of me and the other part of me is I'm being forced to build a railroad by my white half. So, it's an interesting thing. Brooke and Brooke kind of brought it up a while back, like, hey, do you know about this half Asian community? And I didn't know there was such a thing, but I guess there is, and it's a very depressing place to be.
Well, I didn't think there was a half Jewish community because by blood I'm half Jewish, but on Twitter I keep just randomly organically coming across these half Jews whose content I really like. And
now, who is the Jew
Awesome.
between your parents?
my mom is.
So we were talking about that, right, Brooke? She's a Jew.
Yeah, because the line is through the mother.
Right. I understand that. But
yeah, because it wasn't always that way, right? Because it was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
But there was an edict by the rabbis that switched it to the mother. So, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, while I am just a Jew by genetics and by culture, there is in fact a divide there. Like, I can tell that my dad is not a Jewish patriarch, and you can look at my genes, and it literally says like 49% Northern European, 49% Ashkenazi Jew. So it's like, yeah, the divide is real.
Amazing.
So
you did the full DNA test?
Yeah, I did. I was curious.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
are you going to do a video about that?
I wasn't planning on it, but I guess I could.
Here we go.
Yeah, that seems to be quite a hot topic these days.
Yeah,
Oh, you got something there, Amos?
Well, so it's not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's the God of Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel. I was just looking up the wives. That's all. It's just
a
little humor.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, those are the 3 most common Jewish girl names that there are.
I wouldn't have noticed. That's fantastic.
So, as a Jew, what are your thoughts on Ben Shapiro? Is he a Nazi, or is he a white supremacist, or is he neither?
Definitely both. I am terribly biased and don't watch him because he's got a small, weaselly head and a whiny voice that annoys me, so I don't watch him. I apologize, Ben Shapiro. I'm sure your ideas are great, but I cannot listen to you.
Is that a jab at short people? Did she just make a jab at short people?
We were going to ask her about that. How tall is your boyfriend?
I think he's like 5'8.5" or 5'9".
And how tall are you?
There we go.
5'7".
Oh. So he's not 6
me,
foot.
bro.
So my dad is 6.5 feet tall, so I've been kind of disenchanted with really tall people. I just don't care that much, honestly.
It's good to know.
It's not
it's good to know.
height that bothers me. It's really the sound of his voice and the eyes.
Have you dated taller guys?
It's true.
I dated one guy who is taller. He's boyfriend number 2 in the book. So my first boyfriend was my height. I've had a weird trend of like a couple of the guys I dated were able to wear my pants, which was just creepy. Like
Ugh.
that's just
Okay then.
that's not something I care to repeat. That was weird. But the first couple guys, I dated were my height, and then the second great romance or whatever was a guy who was probably like 5'10" or something. He wasn't overwhelmingly tall, but he was maybe, yeah, he was definitely a few inches taller than me.
Hmm. 'Cause,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were discussing this before. Oh yeah, go ahead. You can tell the story, Amos.
Well, we've talked about this off and on. In the dating world, there tends to be sort of it's as an extension of hypergamy in the physical sense. You have women sort of really wanting tall men. They'll kind of say, so we'll joke, there'll be these messages that you'll like get a screenshot between women that will say like, well, he's got 2 felonies. He just got out of jail. You know, he
Bunch of
beats me.
kids.
Bunch of kids that he's paying child support for, and he's 6'2". And then the reply is, how tall is he?
Oh my god, not okay, not worth it, not okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're speaking out against that, Sarah.
No, height has never been a big issue for me. I've never dated a guy that's shorter than me, but I mean, I can't remember. I think the average height in the U.S. is like 5'8" or something. So,
Sure.
you know, I didn't eliminate a ton of that here. But no, I mean, the thing is too that shorter guys and women maybe don't realize is the point is that he's stronger than you. If he's strong and your same height, he can still physically overpower you. So that should satisfy your hypergamy just fine.
So odd to hear that from a woman.
A woman acknowledging her hypergamy. That doesn't happen.
It's real.
Clearly self-awareness.
Yeah, I've been told it's not possible for women, but I think that is untrue. I think we can at least try. While we might not be super rational, we can have some self-awareness and affect change. But yeah, my boyfriend was like 5 years and 15 IQ points on me, so there's definitely some hypergamy.
Wow, excellent.
So your next book will be The Almost Rational Female?
Yeah, yeah.
Rollo would love that.
Oh, I'm sure he would just, yeah.
Have him write the foreword.
Oh yeah. See, I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know what the opinions of those guys are on me. I'm sure they probably haven't formed one, but because I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some pure, perfect virginal wife like some of these other Twitter famous chicks are, and I'm really just trying to help people, and I am influenced by their work, and I acknowledge it. So I know, like, I'm not trying to encroach in their space. They're very much about like don't let women in, changes things, which is fine. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what they think, if they're just like, oh, another woman stealing our ideas and getting more famous than us because of it, or what. But
yeah,
well,
the general consensus is they like you said, they don't want women in this space, and they also advise men never to take advice from women.
right.
So that tends to be kind of the going mantra. But human beings, we can have stuff like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So you're quite encouraging in your comments.
Right.
I hope so. I mean, I don't try to advise men. Like, I would support that sentiment that, someone has asked me for dating advice as a man, and I'm like, you should go talk to these people. I'm not the person to ask. And I do have male followers, but I direct my advice at women. And
Sure.
I mean, I, I agree that it's not my place to give men advice on the dating world. And yeah, so I don't try to go there. I think there was a need for a woman to kind of give some advice to women.
I agree. I think that's a very good corner, and it needs a lot more voices like yours.
Definitely, yeah. There's, and it's good though. You're sort of I guess the way I look at it is feminism is not, radical left leaning feminism is not just going to go away overnight, but definitely needs women like you that are not like living in an Amish community, hardcore tradcon kind of thing, but at least having some of those values sort of shared, and as well as just giving out as advice to kind of slowly help the movement to basically simmer down a bit. I think there will always be feminism, but it's got to kind of dial it back a bit with its craziness.
I hope so, and I think I'm more relatable because I did not grow up in an Amish community, and I was an SJW, and I did make mistakes, so I can at least tell women, here's how to pick yourself up from the wreckage of your life, because I did it, and you can too. And you might not be, as high value as you once were, but you can at least stop the bleeding. So let's fix this together. But yeah, I think if I were coming from the perspective of super religious, like if I were a Mormon or something, I don't think my message would be popular.
Well, then polyamory would make sense then, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Polyamory it was a lot of women getting around too, so.
A lot of men, yeah, exactly.
Right. Huh. Well, we're coming kind of towards the end of our time here. We're at about an hour and a half here. Save a few minutes. Any questions you have for us, though, Brooke? Or
no, I wouldn't take up more of your time, Sarah. But what you could do is probably just we're going to put your links out there, and if there's any specific way that people can contact you, you could share that with the viewers.
I've already got her Twitter and the website down below, and the website refers to the book. I might as well just add the Amazon link to the book if people just want to go straight to it. Is there any other social media that you're on right now? Have you?
No, I deleted my Facebook, but you can contact me. My direct messages are open on Twitter, and you can also contact me through the website too. It has a messaging service. So if you want to talk, you can follow me or message me on Twitter, or hop on the website and chat.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for coming
channel?
up. Oh, no, that's right. You don't have one yet.
Have what?
You don't have a YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, sorry, I do have a YouTube channel.
You do? Oh, I thought you did. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot because I have 3 videos on there so far. I guess if you just search for Sarah Gosney, it's the one with my picture. Yeah, so.
I'll definitely look it up and put it and add it to the description as well. And so, yeah, I mean, that's. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Sarah.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
But
good
yeah.
job.
So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I know we actually kept a steady stream of like 2 viewers, which is more than usual. I know Hyper Supremacy gets about 5 on their channel and their stream, so we're definitely getting up there. But yeah, all the links to get a hold of Sarah and her website as well are all going to be below. We'll be adding some more details to the description. It's all on there so far. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Sarah, for coming on. Next week, we're planning for it at least to have Sarcasm and Liberty, who is a Twitter account run by a guy named Josh. He's libertarian, does a lot of memes, comics, stuff like that. He's going to have a new libertarian comic that he's going to be distributing as well. So we're going to have him on next week, same time.
Aren't you a character on that, Amos? Aren't you going to be like drawn into a comic?
You and I are both going to be. And I'll definitely bring up to him.
Oh, brilliant! I'm going to be a comic.
Yeah. So he's got a list of people. So you never know where we're on that list. And it takes a couple weeks for him to put out one. But anyways, we're planning to have him on next week. I know there were some things that came up with him and personal stuff, so we'll see if we can get it through. But thanks everyone for watching. Like I said, join us next week on Thursday, 11 o'clock, and any streams that could come up in between. We always do, we try to fit in everyone into our time frame, but we can always make exceptions and have, like with Hyper Supremacy, have them on at a different time of the day. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, as well as my channel, Brooke's channel, and Sarah's channel as well, as I put that in the link below. So, thanks everyone.
Connect with us on social media. We'll put all the links below.
Yep, we got all of that. So, thanks guys.